Hello and welcome to Conversations in Cleantech, the podcast that celebrates the clean tech industry and the people that power it, brought to you by Brightsmith. I'm your host, Jenny Gladman, and in this 6th season, we delve deeper into the world of clean tech startups and their founders, from inspiring stories and words of wisdom to the toughest challenges. You can expect to learn about how these pioneering startups and the founders at their helm are propelling us towards a cleaner, greener tomorrow. In addition, they'll be offering you timeless teachings to enlighten, engage, and inspire everyone, everywhere to live their purpose. So today I am joined by one of my brilliant co-hosts from Brightsmith, Mr. Ben Sparks over in Austin, Texas. Ben, I'm going to hand it to you to introduce today's guest.
Thanks, Jen. Today we're excited to host Adam Knudsen, CEO and Managing Director of Dynapower. Adam has held multiple positions within Dynapower since joining the firm in 1993. Starting as a sales engineer, he has since led the organisation's technological efforts within clean energy, of which he'll give a lot more details than I will. He's led the sales and marketing efforts as well as spearheaded new market developments. Adam became COO and currently holds the position of CEO. Adam is a true example of taking your career from the ground level to the helm. Adam's achievements speak for themselves, and we're excited to hear more about his journey, which I'm sure will inspire physicists, electrical engineers, and give everybody a glimpse into the path of from technical to executive leadership, and inspire other C-suite executives too. As a father, he knows firsthand the benefits of balance and putting things into perspective to ensure we are successful in all parts of our life. So, Adam, welcome to the show.
Great, Ben. Thanks. It's great to be here.
We'll jump into the business stuff first, but I'd love to know a little bit more about you. Maybe you can share a quick fun fact about the human being behind the business.
Sure. I guess I had two primary objectives growing up. One was to be an astronaut, and the second one was to play professional football. And I succeeded in one of those. You have to guess, Ben, on which one that is, but I succeeded in one. I have a degree in physics and electrical engineering, always been a technical person, but bluntly, haven't done a bunch of design work in my life. It's mostly been the interface with the markets, the customers, and of course, our phenomenal team here at Dynapower. But I did play a little professional football in Europe, a little north of you guys in Finland, had a blast, realized that wasn't really going to be a career for me. So I came back and sent my resumes off to NASA to become an astronaut. And of course, it couldn't be that I wasn't qualified, having never flown anything in my life. But being a semi-athlete and a physicist, I thought maybe I had a shot. Well, I did not have a shot. So first step or second step, I guess, into my career was a miserable failure. But we didn't cry too long. Picked up and was interested in opportunities and put my interest into Dynapower all the way back in 1993, and I was coaching little 7th and 8th grade football kids, and the head coach of the team said, "Hey, these guys are looking for applications and sales engineers. You should go chat with Dynapower." So that was literally 30 years ago this year, and I can tell you, my journey, which we'll probably get into a little bit more shortly in the journey of our business. I would have been long gone if this business and the people in it weren't phenomenal. The impact that we have globally, and it continues to proactively evolve. I always think that the evolution phrase is a passive word, but we're dynamically evolving our business and the markets and the products, and so it's a totally different business than it was 3 years ago. It's a totally different business than that 3 years ago was prior to that, and it really has been a journey of dynamic evolution. And I've been proud and privileged to support and be a part of it for now 30 years.
That's amazing. And also, it's not missed that Dynapower has been going since 1963, right? So you're 30 years without you and 30 years with you.
Yeah, so I joke a little bit. My middle child, this is a couple of years ago, she said, "Dad, wait, you've been with Dynapower for 27 years. That's more than half your life." And more than half of the existence of Dynapower at the time. And I said, wow, all right, so the math work in school is paying off. You can do the math, but it's true. I have spent my entire professional career at Dynapower, which I know is pretty atypical these days. But as I mentioned, they're different businesses, right? Through this whole journey, in our drive to have an impact on the world, and that includes the climate, that includes our customers, and of course, it includes our phenomenal team at Dynapower. It has never been more rewarding, never been more challenging, but also never been more fun. So it's been fantastic, and I love it. So yeah, half of Dynapower's existence, I've been a part of it, which also means they existed successfully without me for 30 years.
Nah.
But I'll tell you, the passion has been the same, and that is, how do we bring technology to proactively make a positive impact in the world? And it started off very early on, just building better, more reliable power conversion systems for the U.S. industrial market and automotive markets. And then over the course of the next 60 years, we have used that same passion. And around Dynapower, we talk about passion for purpose and powering a cleaner planet and powering a safer planet. And one of my favorites is a rallying cry that's let's power ahead boldly. And when I look at let's power ahead boldly, I see really that as our evolution over the last many decades. About, we don't shy away from the world's most challenging power conversion issues, and a lot of what we're talking about is clean tech. But on the Dynapower side, it's by far our fastest growing and our largest part of our business. But we do a lot of other work, in the industrial space and the defense side, and we have for a long time. And being able to power a cleaner planet, power a safer planet, and every single day, the team members in our business get to go home, whether it's a virtual walk to the kitchen from their office in their house, or whether it's a drive home, and realize they had an impact. And I tell you, that's really valuable. As we drive the team, retain the team, grow the team, to know that not only do you get paid well, and we're in a market on the clean energy side that makes money, right? But also has a phenomenal impact. And I'm not suggesting that you have to go home and tell your kids or your wife or your husband, everything that you did this day to make the world a better place. But I would be willing to wager there's more conversations at home than is typical in a business environment. So we're proud to be, I say, inspirational in that space.
Awesome. And a lot of the guests we've had on here, their businesses have been fairly linear, right? They've just been future mobility or hydrogen. Obviously Dynapower is a multifaceted business. How do you kind of, I know when you've been on stage or talking to investors, how do you summarize, Dynapower's mission? You touched on a few bits there, but I'm interested in sort of what's the kind of elevator pitch to new investors. Or
you don't have to go far. You can just go to our website. Our mission is to power a cleaner planet. That is our mission. All right. So how are we going to do that, and how do we do that? Besides retaining and recruiting and growing our very talented team, which without a doubt, the power is in our people. There's no question about that. It's just where we try to leverage those talents to go and attack. And without a doubt, the clean energy space, and literally over the last 15 years, there's lots of arguments that clean tech obviously pre-existed 15 years ago, but Dynapower's foundational investment and move into that space was building utility scale inverters for the battery energy storage market that supports a lot of grid and renewable space back in 2007. So a little bit of the gray hair and a lot of our lessons learned we've been in the market really since day one. When you start talking about battery energy storage, renewable connections, wind and storage, and of course, as I was mentioning to Jenny, our hydrogen work predates that. So that's been a phenomenal journey. But our mission really is to have an impact globally on driving a cleaner planet, and using our technology, our resources, and partnering with our customers to really have an impact. And that can be product line scale. From we provide power electronics that are utility scale battery energy storage, to the commercial industrial, to some really innovative DC to DC technology, which really is changing the way that renewable energy, not just solar, wind, but also, as we talked a little while ago, Jenny, how you might be close coupling renewables and hydrogen. Wow, that's exciting, right? And we have projects right now that we're developing on that space. That has an impact globally, and so we're really excited to shape our mission around having an impact, empowering a cleaner planet, and empowering our people to help us in that journey.
Amazing. And I think also just some of the things that you touched on there was that kind of I'm not sure you've used the word, but that sense of pride, that going home to your family and being able to share what you do, like, how does that feel? How does that drive you?
Well, I'll give you a quick example. So right before COVID, we would have the local schools, fifth, sixth graders come in, and of course, presenting to leadership of a partner customer, it's a different level of presentation to the fifth grade class. And we show them all of these amazing things that we put together with battery energy storage and advanced power electronics, increasing the penetration of renewables, saving the world, with the Cleantech sword. And we also, there's a soy sauce customer that quite well, probably is in your fridge, that is a customer of ours. And all of the things that we did with electric vehicles and grids, and we do the defense work, and we have all these pictures. The most impressed that the fifth grade class was our gear helps make soy sauce. I was like, okay, it does. So I'm not sure that falls fully into the pride section, Jenny, but I guess sometimes we have to squeeze our head. Like, listen, you guys are, it's great to have be proud of what you do, but try not to get full of yourself. But we would say things that, well, listen, you couldn't survive without Dynapower. We help make planes. We help make cars. We help make energy in the grid. We do really advanced power conversion systems for material science experiments within the U.S. National Lab Science. And we also do large-scale applications, within the industrial and chemical space. So you couldn't wash your clothes without Dynapower. And obviously on the hydrogen side, you couldn't have a foundational change in the global fuel source for carbon-free fuel source for our planet's needs for energy without Dynapower. Now, I might be taking some liberties there a little bit, but it's really kind of fun to have those conversations. And when you have your teenage daughters pick their head up from their phones and actually ask you a qualifying question, you've won because they're more interested in, what did you just say? And that's pretty cool versus the phone. So, yeah, it is. It's obviously, we're proud.
Beating TikTok.
It's a hard thing to do at times, but it can be done.
Congrats on that big achievement of the year. So I'd like to just go in slightly into detail around your energy storage solution. I think it's what a lot of people know you for, and it is a competitive space. How does Dynapower how are you unique with this energy storage solution and offering that you've got? What makes you different?
Yeah, so the list is probably 10 items long. I'd really like to focus on two, okay? And the first piece is we are technologists, right? So we are continuously pressing product development, advanced features, different functionality within the product offering. So what I like to use as an analogy is we're surfing, right? If you're not aggressive enough, you fall off the wave in the back. If you're too far forward, well, then you crash forward, right? And it really is about maintaining the right balance of pressing the envelope, being continuously legitimate and impactful. And in order to do that, you kind of have to have the whole recipe together. You have to have the technology velocity, right? And in the world of physics and engineering, velocity is magnitude, but also direction. You can't be fractal all over. So we've been very good at putting our resources to the product and the challenges in the development that have been impactful. I mean, we're not batting 1,000, but we're pretty close, right? So I think our ability to, with our marketing team and our customers and all of that part of the process, put our resources where it matters, keeps us relevant. Now, the key is, it's kind of like, going to Mars. You can't just, all right, I can see Mars, we're going to fly at Mars. No, that never works. Mars isn't there when you get there. Right? We have to align where we're going so that we are relevant in delivering solutions at the technology and the globalization where, as well as at the cost that allows that to be successful. You can have all the technology in the world, but if it's not able to be value positive in that space, you'll sell it to 2 or 3 niche market opportunities. But in reality, that doesn't help the globe and certainly doesn't meet our growth objectives to have a bigger impact. So we really are very dynamic in the products, the costing, and the globalization. So there's the first of the two. Number 2, you got to be dynamic in the market. If you guys remember in battery energy storage in 2007, 2008, 9, 10, there were a few very early dominant players in that space. And every one of those players who are now long gone, but those players, They're like, our solution is the one solution for all applications. And we make the batteries, we buy the power electronics, and we're going to do it all. In the Dynapower side, as we've evolved over the last 15 years, Ben, you want us to sell you advanced power electronics that meets your expectations? We're going to say yes. If you want us to sell you advanced power electronics with the controls and someone else provides the batteries and we wrap it, we're going to say yes. If you want us to provide you power electronics controls and provide the full battery energy storage systems commercially, technically responsible and warranty, we're going to say yes. A lot of people wouldn't say that. Hey, we are going to offer you this. And if you don't take us up on this, well, then, we're not going to go forward with you. So our ability to be offering flexible, and, sometimes a couple of our biggest customers are our competitors. I mean, I think that's amazing, right? And I think it actually speaks to the Cleantech world of collaboration, bluntly. And okay, fine, you have to have a little lines and a few fences up so you understand, where are we crossing the line of intellectual property and what have you. But if you know that the market in clean tech is so large and so fast that you have to be collaborative in your approach, and that includes even working with your competition on projects, well, then you've got something. And, so we're really excited about that. So I would say the two, our technology, our product, and our continual drive, to meet Mars where it is, not where it looks to be. And on the second piece, to be flexible and dynamic in our market and sales channel strategy. We're not stuck in a rut. We are very, very dynamic and love to engage with our customers and our competition on what's next so that we can try to bring the value that's emerging in that space. Those are the two.
And it seems like you're very, very customer-led in that focus. You're listening to what the market is. You're pivoting to what the market needs versus building something and then trying to cram that through an open door.
Yeah, I would say it's, I don't know if it's 50-50, Ben, but there's a lot of both there, right? And I'll say it this way. Our customers, and this is not a reference to just Cleantech, this goes back 60 years. Our customers have needs that they have to solve. And you know who knows them the best? The customer. And so we have to listen, and now we have a lot of tools that we can bring to bear. I mean, there's too many stories to tell you here, but we've had customers, including the U.S. Navy, that says, hey, we want to do this. We've talked to others that say we have to do it this way. We've talked to other people that say we should do it the other way. What do you guys think? I said, well, we'll provide you either. Let's talk about what you need. Let's not just talk about what we have and try to push you into that space. That said, we don't need to build you a custom piece of equipment if you don't need it. If our standardized product can solve that problem, let's go solve that problem with standard solutions. But if you need to stretch or you need a customized solution, we've been doing it for 6 decades. So I think that's,
and we're there to catch you.
Yeah, it's really important in that piece. So from our side, listening to the customers and engaging them deeply, which, by the way, is not just a Dynapower cultural drive in our business, it's also clearly part of the overall Sensata technologies, to listen to the customers and bring technical solutions to those challenges. Okay, so there's the one half of the equation, Ben. The other half is, well, obviously we want to have a massive spotlight on what's going on in the markets. And what's going on in those markets can dictate generic need, like our DC to DC converters that we first launched in 2015. Won some awards, not too far away from you, Jenny, in Germany. Won some awards for that technology deployment. Lots of intellectual property around, lots of growth opportunities in that space. That part was very purposely driven for DC coupled storage and renewables. Okay. Now we had early stage conversations with customers that were thinking about things like that, but the overall market drive to say a DC to DC converter around this power level, branched off both high and low from there, boy, there's an entire market trend that is shifting into that space, and we were leaders. In fact, we remain a leader in that space. So there's a bit of an example. Got to listen to the customers, got to engage, but you also have to pick your head up and look a little deeper. And when you look a little deeper toward the horizon, you can see that it's not just one or two people that are talking. This is an entire movement. So I give our team massive credit in being able to be short-term focused with the customer on the need side, but really be able to expand that growth-wise, not just with that customer, but also into the market space, which is one of the reasons why we're just over 60 years in a couple of months, and we're acting like a startup in clean tech. I mean, you don't usually have those two things, right? The way I would describe it is we're a very well-funded startup. We've got the passion for purpose, we've got the technology, and there's a lot of coffee being consumed in our business.
That's probably a nice segue actually, and there's probably a lot of parallels between how you're approaching your customers. I'm sure you are your people as well. But when you look at an organization is only as good as its people, and that's the people in leadership, but also all people throughout the ranks. What are some of the sort of the I suppose the headwinds you've had when it comes to people or talent, and how have you sort of overcome them?
Yeah, so I'm going to answer two questions, even though I think I heard one primary. Without a doubt, the power of our business comes from the people, right? And it's not a catchphrase. It is without a doubt true for us. I have a chance to spend time with all new employees that join our business. It's not always day one, and I'm not involved in the interview process anywhere near as much as I was 20 years ago, of course. However, I do get a chance to share with all new employees globally what makes our business so different. And maybe we can accelerate your knowledge of our impact of our business by having a chat. You've already made the decision to join, but here's all the cool things that we're doing as part of that process. And in that conversation, I get to connect, and they get to connect with the business and the passion and the culture of the people to the next level. And we have our Dynapower daily basics that drive our values and our behaviors. It really is an integrated new language that we've implemented 4 years ago, and it permeates our conversations. And so much of it is about matching the passion of the people that we're trying to recruit with the passion of the people that we have retained. And I will tell you this, in those conversations, I make several statements and a few stories, but one of them is every single person in our business has an opportunity to be a leader. Now, the stages might be differently sized, okay, based on your role and impact and what have you, but every single person can impact as a leader in our business. Whether you joined yesterday and you're building product, along with the crew and the hardworking team that manufactures in Vermont, or you're part of our global supply chain and contract manufacturing world, or you end up having, manager, director, or leadership in your title. You have an ability to lead. So I really firmly believe that that's true for every single person in our business. And we want to make sure that people know that. The comments that we said, listen, if we were perfect, we wouldn't need you. We're hiring you and bringing you on and recruiting you because we have a need to fill. So, you don't get to spin on the side of the river. We got to drag you into the rapids and push forward. And I tell a couple of stories about maybe lessons from my past. One of them happens to be, actually both of them are college football stories, but it encourages the team not to be fractal in your approach. Pick a path, but go forward. Two things are going to happen. It's not going to work out the way that you want. 99 times out of 100, besides safety and integrity, you can change it. The other option is you take a path and you go and you have a massive impact. I would much rather you pick your path. Again, safety and integrity is non-negotiable. Pick your path and sprint forward. We can always clean up the mess if it doesn't work out the way that you intended, but most of the time you end up having a massive impact. So if you're joining us yesterday, you joined us 25 years ago, same motto. You don't get to circle on the side of the river. Jump in, get into the rapids, and let's have a big impact. And I think that part really does bring us back to maybe your primary question. What are the challenges, in that space on the people side? Maybe a few years ago, and I'm going maybe 10, it's kind of hard to get people into the clean energy space. What is that? Wait, what's the growth opportunity? And, your focus there, geez, is it risky if the business goes all in on clean energy? Well, for us, the answer is no, in the sense that we're very diversified in the markets we serve and the products. So, we don't have that like, all your eggs are in one basket. That couldn't be farther from the truth today on the recruitment side into clean energy, which I am just thrilled with. Listen, the clean energy market, the players that are in that market, there's global growth. There's not pocketed growth. There's global growth, and there's great money to be made in that industry. And if you have a need, you have a technical solution that is bankable. It has a return on investment for private capital to be going there, so it could be financed in the process. You have a business, and you know what? Clean energy, you have a business. not yesterday, for several years now. So that means that our efforts collectively, and I'm not just talking about Dynapower, I'm talking about everybody that has worked and currently works within that clean tech space, we have long since passed the critical mass, right? And now, you can kind of look at it, again, I'm a physics guy, right? So black hole space and physics is one of my passions. We are attracting a lot of talent into that space, which is fantastic. That talent built on what's already there is going to help propel us into the next era of growth and the next era of impact, whether it's hydrogen for the next 50 years, whether it's the next technology that comes around. So when you're now pulling not just resources, but some of the best and brightest talent in the world to come into clean tech, man, that's a lot of fun. For us, I guess I joke is, our goal is not just to, retain and recruit the people that don't know how to use the internet. We want you to wake up every day and want to be involved in our business and have a passion to move our business forward and move the clean energy and the clean tech space forward. And it's one of the things that I'm most proud of is being able to retain the team, not just yesterday, but this goes back 10, 15, 20 years. So that means that team has felt passionate about our purpose for decades. And we have a lot of great talent. And we have a lot of people that knock on our door to try to go and say, hey, great talent, can you come over and work with us? Yeah, sometimes those people go for their old career development opportunities. But in reality, we're sending little Dynapower satellites out into the clean energy space. And they always come back and call us. Now, it's not a formal strategy, but when that does happen, and I'm a firm believer that you should be more employable the day you leave our business than the day you joined. And if we treat people correctly, which we do, it's part of our passion. There's lots of development. There's lots of opportunity. We get a lot of opportunity that comes back to us from our team members that have moved on into the space. But retaining that talent and keeping them energized and focused and driven where they wake up every day and say, this is where I want to be, that's one of the keys to our success. And I'm proud to be a small part of helping that happen.
And I love the rapids analogy. I'm going to steal that for future conversations, by the way. I'd like to kind of, what we're seeing in the clean tech world is we are seeing a growth spurt, right? And obviously we're seeing talent coming in from different sectors, and it is exciting. I think one of the trends we've seen is that some of the people who were first in are maybe sort of their trajectory to leadership is somewhat shorter than it would be in some of the other sectors. So, thinking back to yourself as a technical person on that journey and those first steps into leadership, what would be some advice you'd give to Adam, 28 years ago or however long that was?
Yeah, so I have a comment. If you would rewind your story and you would make the same decisions again, you don't have the right to regret, right? You don't, right? So I don't regret anything besides maybe my attempt at being an astronaut. I don't regret anything in that journey. And so I think that it was not linear. You references earlier to a linear. Very little in our business or the clean tech space ends up becoming linear. Why? It's too dynamic. There's too many forces at hand to just make it a linear piece. But I would say to myself, the priority that you put on work ethic and integrity, doing the right thing and working your tail off was a great investment in you and your career. So if I was to talk to my 23-year-old self, when I joined Dynapower, I would say, work your tail off and make sure that, everything that you say and do within your business, you'd be proud to be able to say that publicly. And if you can do those two things, then you put yourself in a good position. And I was joking. My brother, one of my brothers, and I used to live together 100 years ago, and we were in the bathroom together. He would just wake up to use the bathroom, and I was getting in the shower at 2:30 in the morning to go to work. And he looks at me, groggy-eyed, and he says, "Does it just take you longer to do everything else that everybody else normally does more efficient? Is that why you have to work so many hours?" I did chuckle at that, and I was confident in saying, no, that's not it, but I have a lot of work to do. So in fact, this is advice to anybody. I don't care if you're in clean tech or you're coming out of school. One of the things that you can do to differentiate yourself, and bluntly, that's really one of the things you're talking about, Ben, right? How do you put yourself into a different path, and that path might have a different trajectory, which could be impact, doesn't necessarily have to be managerial trajectory, but a different impact. You have to get out of the maybe slow lane, and you have to be able to be purposeful in that space. And I think obviously with a massive amount of additional support around this business and outside the business, my work ethic and my focus on doing the right thing. I think that was good advice, and I'd give that advice to anybody else that's jumping into the space. Work your tail off, be passionate about what you do, and hold yourself and your team to a high level of integrity, and good things are going to happen. Not always linear, but good things are going to happen.
And being responsible for so many people, and in an industry that you said there are so many forces acting, and I think we can all agree it's an industry with its ups and downs in every way. How do you, I should start off by saying you're a very positive individual. So how do you maintain that positivity when things aren't necessarily on the up?
Yeah, so I would word it this way. My positive approach in life, it's not driven by naivete. It's a conscious choice. And I have a very good buddy of mine who I guess made the same comment several years ago, Jandy, and he said, "Well, why?" And I said, "Well, everybody plays back the tapes, right? What did you do, and how did you do that?" And I said, it's not only the things that went well that I play back in my, mental, memory of decades past. Otherwise, you're not learning from the things that you fell down on, right? I just told you one of my ones with being an astronaut. But most of what I do is I replay positive things that I've been involved with in my life on a regular basis, and that I think naturally encourages a repetitive success of approaching things positively, right? So is that conscious? No, that wasn't conscious. I didn't even realize that until my buddy asked that question. But I really do believe that that the world really does want, that they covet energetic, positive leadership. Now, if it turns out that it's without a plan and it's fractal, it's unattainable, then you get written off. No one's going to follow you up the hill. But if you have a level of positive encouragement and you wrap it around, with a level of integrity, then you're going to be able to impact a lot of people. And many of those people want to be around an organization or leaders, like in our business, that are positive, that are impactful, and that fall. I told you, Ben, a story about I had an opportunity to present in front of 3,000 or 4,000 people at a battery energy storage conference several years ago. I get to stand up and talk, and it was like 8:15 in the morning. I'm sure several of them had large dinners and maybe a few drinks the night before, and they walk in. It's 8:30, and there's a 75-foot screen behind me, and it's got a picture of my son, and he has a T-shirt on, and the hair's all over the place. He's in the middle of the woods, and on the T-shirt it says, "Almost perfect, totally awesome." And so I introduced these 3,000 groggy, energy attendees. This is my son. This is his shirt, and this is how I think of energy storage and how I think of Dynapower. Almost perfect, totally awesome. And that was several years ago. He was 6 at the time. He's now 13, or sorry, he's now 12. So 6 years ago, I had a chance to do that. So now I wouldn't say battery energy storage exclusively. It would be Cleantech. Cleantech, almost perfect, totally awesome. And the almost is a really important word. We're not perfect. Dynapower is not perfect. I'm far from perfect. The Cleantech space isn't perfect, right? We're going to have shifts around the world. But as I mentioned, it's my personal belief we have long since reached a critical mass. The world is driving this. Of course, there's going to be hurdles that are being put up, political hurdles, cost hurdles, market hurdles, but there's so much momentum around the clean tech space and the need for the technology and the solutions and the companies and the people. It's not going away. Certainly not going away in my lifetime. It's not going away in my kids' lifetime. This is going to be a multi-generational need to make sure that we optimize our energy and our climate solutions, and clean tech is a phenomenal way to get there.
Looking at this from a business perspective, as a leader, how do you balance sort of values and the mission of the business and the environmental mission of the business up against the financial needs? And I'm guessing, the demands that as the helm of the ship that you have from your stakeholders and shareholders, are there any conflicts between the two that you have to manage?
I would say conflict is a strong word, Ben. There's always trade-offs and there's balances. And as I started off when I was telling stories about integrity and safety, there are a few that are non-negotiable. They're non-negotiable. Safety and integrity are non-negotiable aspects in our business. They're non-negotiable in the way that I show up, and they're non-negotiable in the way that Dynapower as an entity and Sensata as our parent entity support. So that makes several of those decisions pretty transparent. Is this a safety issue? It's a safety issue. We have to move forward. Is it an integrity issue? Hey, we have to do the right thing. We sold something to the customer, didn't work the way that it was intended. We got to go fix that. And if you're looking to partner with somebody that indicates, hey, we're perfect and we're the best and do everything, nothing ever falls down, you probably haven't lived in the real world. So some of our best long-standing customers is when they didn't really know. Take battery energy storage in 2008. There were no standards. There were no specs. It changed 14 different times before you got the order and next Thursday. So businesses that could be flexible in that space and be a valuable partner delivering in that opaque, early stage, highly valued. So from our side, the conflicts associated with doing the right thing, which is one of our Dynapower daily basics, they're very easy. They're not big conflicts. We have to do this. This is the right thing in the process. Where it gets to be a point where you've got big trade-offs is, where do you put your resources? Where do you put your balance? And again, for us, a lot of our development work has been in the Cleantech. A lot of our recruitment and retainment has been in the Cleantech. And we're not doing that just because it's important for the world for us to invest in that space. We're doing that because we make money and we make margin, and that's part of the process. And I firmly believe, there's a lot of incentives that could happen to get nascent technology to a scale point that returns the ROI that makes it have its own critical mass and go. Right? I mean, not to get into the political and the grant side, but being able to see massively long-term impactful technologies in markets stood up aggressively, like hydrogen or like renewables or like battery energy storage, absolutely support that. But you got to get to the point where it's standing on its own, it's reached its critical mass, and it's going global and it's making money globally. When you have that, then you have a globally impactful market. So that's where we are. That doesn't mean there's not going to be fall downs or challenging projects or different, market moves lefts, moves rights, goes aggressive, or macroeconomic conditions. I personally believe that, we are moving through the current economic challenges with an optimistic future. And it's not going to be just, we'll stop talking about the challenges of the macroeconomics and it'll never happen. That's kind of naive. But we have a lot of work to do. And there's a lot of need out there, and we can help solve that need. So let's get to work. Let's spend more time focusing on driving the solution than talking about what the problems are. And so, on the conflict side, there's not a lot of conflict between, doing the right thing and making money. It really comes down to where do we put our resources to have the biggest short, medium, and long-term strategic impact. And we do that because one, it's good business, and two, especially within the Cleantech space, if you're not planning and you're not, dynamically evolving, then you're like a few of those businesses in the early stages of battery energy storage. People don't remember your name.
Just did a phenomenal job of answering my last two questions in the question that Ben asked you. So actually, they were going to talk through the trends and the what keeps you relevant, and you've actually hit all the marks. So I guess it brings us to the end of the conversation. I'm going to pass it back to you if there's any kind of lasting words that you'd like to leave with our listeners before we finish up.
Yeah, I guess I'd leave one. I was asked maybe a year ago about the Cleantech markets and the trends and where we are and the products, and I listed all of these amazing markets that we're attacking. And the person that was asking me the question was like, oh, great, okay. And they were ready to move on. And I said, it's really important to know those are just the markets that we're attacking now. We would be foolish to think that in a year, or in 5 or 7, there isn't an entire new 3, 4, 5 different clean tech approaches or other markets that have a favorable impact on the world. So we not only need to be executing on what we are currently set, because we don't want to be fractal, right? We're not trying to boil the ocean in that space. We're trying to be very purposeful in what we're doing, but we also have to be awake and listening and thinking. We have another Dynapower Daily Basic that says listen generously, where we really have to listen to understand so that we can decide, is the strategy that we're driving the right strategy? 9 out of 10 times, the answer is yes. But that 10th time, we got to be like, what's going on there? So I guess on the Cleantech side, I would encourage all of our colleagues in the Cleantech space not to just be, I've painted it into this highway and this is where we are, but we have to be ready. There's a lot of other dimensions within that Cleantech space, right? And we have to be cognizant of what those dimensions are, and we have to be open-minded to think. Electrified vehicle and vertical takeoff and landing for electrified air transportation is one of them. And that's obviously a market that's really taking off and that we're actively supporting. And we have some colleagues that used to work in our business that have the Dynapower satellites that have gone off that are in that space. I think just that's a perfect example. So let's not get in a rut of what the definition of clean tech is right now. Let's drive hard in that clean tech and be open-minded to welcome more clean tech opportunities in the markets and product into our clean tech community. And I think that's great for the future. And my last piece is a thanks to our team. Our team is amazing. I mean, absolutely phenomenal. And I'm proud to be a part of it. And the privilege that they have put on me to be able to lead that crew is not one that I take lightly. And as I think you referenced early on, the sense of pride, it's absolutely there. And I'm honored to be able to support and lead the team.
We hear that loud and clear.
And I think we're also very proud to be able to partner with you in that, supporting you with growing that team. And I would concur. Every member of your team that I've had the pleasure of working with so far has been brilliant. So
now, since you just met me like a half an hour, 45 minutes ago, hopefully that statement hasn't changed.
I had the joy of sitting with a number of your colleagues at a hydrogen dinner in Rotterdam, and they kept me thoroughly entertained through a whole evening. So not only are they committed and passionate to what they do, they've also got a fantastic sense of humor. So yeah, well done.
Well, maybe that's one of the overall superpowers that the team has. Is as I joke, I'm sitting here in jeans and a golf shirt. I mean, it's a casually dressed business, but it's extremely intense, right? What we're doing, what we're driving, it's very intense. And so we use, myself included, a little bit of humor to maybe take the stress off a little bit. And so I think I might have learned it from those guys. But yeah, it's not surprising that you had an enjoyable, entertaining, humorous dinner. I'm glad to hear that.
Fantastic. Well, Adam, thank you so much for sharing your story, for being a part of the Clean Tech mission. And also, I think we love to see businesses and leaders who recognize the importance of collaboration in this space. And I've never worked in a sector that's been so collaborative and so supportive of all businesses within it. So hearing that echoed over and over again on this podcast is something that really, really drives me.
Good. Well, you have good company. I'm in that same space. So
thank you, Adam.
Well, thanks again, Ben. Thank you, Jenny. Thank you, not just for this, but the other things that you do to support our business and the industry. Both very much appreciated.
Thank you. Take care.